Let us start with the paper first. Sri Siddharth Chhabra is one of the authors, the three authors that have been part of inspiration for this conference. Sri Siddharth Chhabra is a scientist in his own right, living in United States. Uh, and he has done extensive research on the accuracy of the figures that have been arrived at by the sages in the Puranas. And his paper now is going to be on the topic of whether our sages knew Big Bang. Sri Siddhartha over to you.
So first of all, I'd like to offer my thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present my research. I'm Siddharth. I'm a data scientist based in Michigan. And the topic of my presentation today, or the paper, is did the sages know about the Big Bang? So my research is based on the Puranas. And when I say Puranas, what do I mean? So the Puranas are ancient Sanskrit text, practically like an ancient encyclopedia, which are found throughout India. And they have been classified
Your audio
into
can be
different
improved,
categories.
Siddhartha ji. Your audio needs a small improvement.
Okay. How about now? I increase the volume. Is it better? Okay.
Yeah.
So
now it's better.
Okay.
Can you hold your mic closer to your mouth? It was better. Yeah.
Okay. I will increase the volume also. So why don't you see one time if it's good right now? Otherwise, I can hold the mic also. Is it good, or do I need to hold the mic? I guess. Okay. We'll go with the easy way out. So the topic of the presentation is, did the sages know about the Big Bang? And as I said, my research is based on the Puranas. And when I say Puranas, what do I mean by the Puranas? So as I said, there are a lot of variations or classifications of Puranas. One variation, which is given in the Puranas themselves, is the division of Puranas and Upapuranas. So the Puranas themselves state that there are 18 Mahapuranas, and there are many other, almost like 108 Upapuranas, and there are many other Salapuranas. So my research is solely and wholly based on the main Mahapuranas, 18 Mahapuranas. In these Puranas, we find description of very significant events. So before we can look into those descriptions which are given in the Puranas, we have to get a primer on Puranic time units. So, okay. So before I can go into the Puranic time units, we need to understand a very deep concept of time dilation. And we can understand this with the help of a story. So one time, King Kakudmi, this is described in Bhagavad Purana, and also there's in other Puranas like Brahma Vivarta Purana, Matsya Purana, and Vayu Purana. So what's the story? King Kakudmi wanted to marry his daughter to like the best prospect possible. So then what did he do? He thought, the best way would be if I can go to Brahma, because Brahma is, the progenitor. So he would know who's the best person in this whole Brahmanda, whom, my daughter can be married. So he goes there. When he goes to the Brahmaloka, then Brahma tells him, hey, I'm busy for a moment. Can you please wait a moment? Help you. So then Brahma goes and, he goes to meet King Kakudmi. King Kakudmi presents him a list of people, a prospect. He say, hey, what about guy A, guy person B, King C, and, this Emperor D? What do you think of these people? And Brahma started laughing. I was like, why is Brahma laughing? I'm coming here for a serious question. Why is he laughing? So then he asked Brahma, why are you laughing? Brahma said, I'm laughing because the people you're talking about, their sons, their grandsons, they all have left their bodies. So here comes the concept of time dilation. A moment spent on the topmost loka. There are 14 lokas in our Brahmanda, as described in practically all the Puranas. They have different names sometimes. However, the topmost loka is the Brahmaloka, and the topmost loka, Brahmaloka, the time there runs very low. That a moment there is equal to millions and billions of years on our level, which is the Bhumandala. We live in a Varsha called Bharata Varsha inside Bhumandala. Now, this concept of time dilation was a foreign concept until 1900s, when Einstein came up with theory of general relativity. Thanks to him, now this concept of time dilation is found everywhere. If you look up your phone, and if you're using your phone for GPS, there is a satellite. The satellites introduce a time dilation correction in your phone so that you can get exact directions to where you're going. So this concept of time dilation has been accepted practically in all modern physics and modern science textbooks. You can find it there. The idea is that in case of heavy gravitational fields, or in the case of an object going at the speed closer to the speed of light, time can become slow. And there can be many other reasons why time can be slow. So with this basic concept in mind, that the time can run at different speeds, let us look at Puranic time units. So first of all, and this is something which is common across all the 18 Mahapuranas. I'm not sure about other books, Mahabharata or other books which have been discussed today in the presentation, in the conference today. So what is it does say in the Puranas? It says that there is a Chaturyuga. A Chaturyuga is a combination of Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, that thing. Actually, Kali, Dwapar, Treta, and Satya. 71 of these make a Manvantara. And we shouldn't forget Manvantara Sandhya, which is between consecutive Manvantaras. What's the second concept? The 14 Manvantras make a Kalpa. Now, this is something which practically everybody knew up to now, right now. But here comes my contribution to this conference today. I discovered an unrecognized Puranic time unit, which was stated clearly in the Vayu Purana and Brahmanda Purana. And what is that? That's a Prati Samdhi. It's like a Sandhya, like we have a Sandhya between mantras, like we have Sandhya between yugas. There's also a Sandhya between kalpas. It makes sense, doesn't it? So that Sandhya is called Prati Samdhi. It is between consecutive manvantras. And what is its duration? The duration of Prati Samdhi is a manvantara. This time unit, this is called Parartha. What's a Parartha? A Parartha is 50 years of Brahma. And what's a year of Brahma? A year of Brahma is 360 days and nights, where each day and night corresponds to a kalpa. I hope all of you are with me. I know there are many foreign terms here, but please hold on to your seat. We'll try to make it more simple pretty soon. So these are the time units: Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, Chatur Yuga, Manvantara, Kalpa, Manvantara Sandhya, and my contribution, Prati Samdhi. Now, these time units and these values are known to Indians for thousands of years, and known to the Western world for last 200 years, thanks to Wilson, who translated Vishnu Purana in 1800s. So, and there is a consensus amongst the academics that these are the values stated in the Puranas. So let us look at a dating for a significant event given in the Puranas. Let's look at Brahma's creation. So what did we hear? We hear that at the end of Brahma's day, Brahmanda is finished, is deconstructed or destroyed, practically, not all of it, and then it is reconstructed. So when is the Brahmanda reconstructed? Because that will correspond to something close to us. Now, before we can look at that date, I want to take a quick second to go to a separate topic here. What is Brahmanda? Now, some people translate Brahmanda as a solar system. Other people translate Brahmanda as a universe. Now, the dimensions which are given for Brahmanda, practically in all the Puranas, they match much more closer to the solar system than Brahmanda, than the universe. So I chose solar system as an appropriate translation of Brahmanda. Moreover, we hear in Brahma Samhita and also again in many times in Purana that there is one sun, there are these planets. If Brahmanda meant the whole universe, there will be many more suns and many more planets. That's something which we don't find. So taking Brahmanda equal to the solar system, let us look at the topic of the construction of our Brahmanda. When does it happen? So this is a verse found in Vayu Purana, and you can find similar passages in other Puranas like Bhagavad Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Matsya Purana, Vishnu Purana. What is that? That as the night ends, Prajapati Brahma wakes up and feels the urge to reconstruct the solar system or the Brahmanda, Sarga. So when does that happen? I'm sure many of you have done like yagyas, and when we do yagya, we say this vow, this pratigya. What's that pratigya? We state where we are. We say sapta manvantare, ashta vinshate chaturyuge. So this kalpe. So what does that mean? That means currently we're in 28th chaturyuga in the 7th manvantara of the current day of Brahma. So, so when did, when was the solar system reconstructed? As we just read, it was reconstructed, or the construction began at the end of the night of Brahma. So how much time has passed since then? Now, currently we're in the seventh mantra. 6 mantras have passed already, and practically 28 Chaturyugas have passed, because we are in the end of, we are towards the end of the Chaturyuga. We're in the Kali Yuga right now, and there's also Pratisandhi. So let's add these number up: 28 into 4.32, 6 into 306.72, and Pratisandhi into 366.772. What do we get? We get 2281.392 million years. Pretty interesting. Actually, if you look up on Wikipedia, you will find similar answers, that our Brahmanda is 2000, roughly 2000 million years old. Now, here comes an interesting thing. What's the interesting thing? Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami is one of the earliest commentators on the Puranas, actually, specifically Vishnu Purana and Bhagavad Purana. What did he write? He writes in his commentary on Vishnu Purana, first canto, third chapter, text number 7, that a day on Brahmanda is, on Bhumandala, is twice as long as a day on our earth. What does that mean? That means that all the time units which we have been discussing, they correspond to the Bhumandala, not the earth, and they will have to be multiplied by a factor of 2 in order to arrive at any dates on our earth. Now, why that is the case, we'll have to figure that out. We can discuss that in another talk, but let's apply that factor. So we had this number, let's apply a factor of 2. What do we get? 4,562 million years, or 4.563. Very easy to remember. 4,563 billion years. Let us look at what does the scientists say. So scientists have been working on this problem, the birth of the sun, for last hundreds of years. In 1938, Hens Bede got Nobel Prize for discovering how the sun creates its energy. So then they made some progress. In 1943, they had their first date for the birth of the sun, that was 4.5. And the latest is what? 4.567. Again, very easy to remember. 4567. That was the date for birth of the sun. What do our Puranas say? Based on the commentaries of Sridhar Swami, 4.563. What's the difference? 0.08%. I repeat, the difference between the Puranic date for these, for the birth of the sun is different. It differs from the scientific estimate by 0.08%. Pretty good, isn't it? And that's because of Sridhar Swami's commentary, which was written in the 11th century, not something new, not something written afterwards. It's not a post-hoc edition. Now let's look at another problem, which is, or another significant event, which is Prakritika Sarga. So the Sarga which we just read was a Sarga done by Brahma. There's also a Sarga done by Prakriti. When does that happen? That happens whenever all the Brahmandas, they go back into the body of Vishnu, and when they come out. This is as per the the accounts given in Vayu Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Bhagavad Purana, Matsya Purana, Vishnu Purana. So what do we find there? We find that currently we are in the second Parartha of Brahma. Now, and please forgive me, I'm not providing the shlokas here for this passage, because it will take me a long time to present that in this presentation. But you can look at my paper, which I'll be sharing the URL at the end, where you can read. And also, Professor Paturiji will be putting out the paper later, sometime this week or pretty soon. So where are we now? We're currently almost halfway to the first day of Brahma. And what do we find in the Puranas? We find that there was the Prakritik Pralaya and Prakritik Sarga at the end of first Parartha, or the last day of first Parartha. So what does that mean? That means we have to add a Kalpa to our onset of the solar system construction, and a Pratisandhi to our previous value. And what do we get? 13.819 billion solar years as the date for the latest Prakritik Sarga. I repeat, 13.819 billion solar years. And you're welcome to again try the calculation. So let us look at what do scientists say. The scientists state that our universe was created 13.801 billion years ago. Now here they use a different dating method, not the one which they use for solar system, because there are no rocks to date. And this value is based on the discovery of cosmic microwave background radiation. So a problem which has been practically unsolved for the last 200 years got a major breakthrough in 2000, when they launched their satellite WMAP. So thanks to that, we have these values, and thanks to another satellite called Planck, we have the value 13.801. So what's the difference between Puranic statement and the scientific estimate? 0.1%. One more time. Isn't it amazing? So this is a completely different dating method, completely different problem which we're dealing with. Let's look at another interesting thing. I hope all of you recognize this picture. This picture has been all everywhere, thanks to Paturiji. It's part of the whole, this workshop, this conference. This is a famous passage of Matsya Pralaya. It is mentioned in the Bhagavad Purana that this Pralaya was as bad as the end of the day of Brahma. Very bad Pralaya. I mean, of course, at the end of every mantra, there is a Pralaya, as being mentioned in Vishnu Dharmottara Purana and Bhagavad Purana. However, this Pralaya, at the end of our last mantra, was the most severe Pralaya. When did this happen? So according to the Puranas, this Pralaya happened at the end of Chakshusha mantra, or end of last mantra. And as I said earlier, we are in the 28th Chaturyuga, practically towards the end. 27 Chaturyugas have passed. And it is mentioned in the Matsya Purana that the sage, or sorry, the king Satyavrata was meditating for 2 million years. So since the Satya Yuga started 253.152 million years ago, the date is 251.152. That is the date for the onset of the Matsya Avatar Pralaya. Okay, I hope everybody is with me. This is the last data, so please be on your seat. Okay, so what do scientists say? What happened at that time? The scientists describe that the Earth's greatest mass extinction happened 251.9 million years ago. Wow. The Earth's greatest mass extinction. 70% of the land species went extinct. 90% of the aquatic species went extinct. And this is not just a report of one scientist or two scientists. This is the opinion, which is the consensus amongst the paleontologists. So what's the difference? 0.3%. I increasing every time, pretty close. 0.3% difference between Puranic and scientific estimate. So let's summarize. What do we have here? First of all, I discussed three important events from the Puranas. There are many more, and I hope to share more in my further research. Secondly, I shared an unrecognized Puranic time unit called Pratisamdhi, which is in between consecutive kalpas. Next, I discussed how Sridhar's factor of 2 is justifiable and actually produces stunning concordances. If his factor is ignored, then we will have a very stunning correlation, not a concordance. Still still amazing. It's like somebody being able to guess every time in your pocket how much money is there, except half of it. That would be pretty strong, isn't it? So our sages, thousands of years ago, had produced these values. And these Puranic dates stunningly coincide with the modern scientific claims. This is something which has just come in last decade or 2 decades. So this is it for my presentation. I'm thankful to India Academy for the support, for guidance, and Hari Kiranji for both guidance and support. That's my email address. You can shoot me questions, emails, tomatoes, eggs. I take all. I mean, of course, I'm vegetarian, so I won't take eggs. And here's a link to my paper, a paper which I published earlier. And my link to new paper will be shared, later by Professor Paturiji. Over to you, Paturiji.
Yeah. Very good. Amazing as always, Sri Siddharth ji. There are a few questions, some addressed to Indic Academy, to the organizers, that is to us. They are asking where the papers will be available for us to learn later. Viewers, all these papers will be uploaded. They will be published on our Indic Today online journal. First, and selected of those will be published as a volume later, a book, and all the video recordings shall be uploaded onto our channel on YouTube. And one question from one Sunil Kumar to Sri Siddhartha ji is Hare Krishna Siddhartha ji. Does the story of multiple Brahmas and Indras indicate that there are multiple universes and therefore multiple Big Bangs?
Okay, let me try and answer that. Thank you. So, as I established earlier, that Brahma rules over a Brahmanda, not a universe. And Brahmanda, as I said, best can be compared to a solar system, not a universe. So the most appropriate translation for a Brahmanda would be a solar system. So yes, there are multiple Brahmandas, as you can see, and there are multiple solar systems, as you can see outside at night sky, and they all have their construction and reconstruction. And of course, we need to have the right vision, the divine vision, by doing the right tapasya, austerity, as described in the Puranas, by which we can really see the beings on those solar systems, and they will have their own construction and destruction. And as the scientists say, there are numerous solar systems out there which are going through periods of construction and destruction continuously. So it's a continuous feature. It is happening all the time, and that means there are multiple construction and destruction of solar systems. And I hope that answers it.